Welcome back to Cord Cutting Today, where we break down some of the biggest stories happening in the world of cord cutting, including today. Local ABC, CBS, Fox, and NBC stations want television makers to be forced to make some big changes to the remotes and menus. We'll tell you what they're asking the FCC to do here. Also, Roku has confirmed it's aware of a glitch causing a menu coming up on Roku TVs. We'll tell you what's happening there and some good news coming with that. And a very popular streaming service of Crackle, the free ad support service, is kind of back from the dead, at least on their website for now. Slight possibility this is a mistake. We'll tell you what's happening there and why one of the first free ad support streaming services is coming back from the dead. Break it all down. These stories and a whole lot more coming up. If you want to find a link to each story, I'll put it in the show notes and in the first pinned comment so you can read them there and come up with your own opinion. I'd love to hear from you. If you're new here, please consider hitting that subscribe button, hitting that thumbs up. Doing one or both lets YouTube know you enjoy what we do here, so YouTube recommends our videos to more people. We would really appreciate your support. With that said, let's dive into it. Starting off with local ABC, CBS, Fox, and NBC TV stations want the FCC to force television makers to make some changes. Now, this was first spotted by Lon TV. Great channel. Check him out. I'll put a link in our story to him. You can read it there. But we talked about this. The National Association of Broadcasters, which represents local TV stations, is asking the FCC to set a deadline to end the ATSC 1.0 standard, which would result in in a few years down the road, 1.0 shutting down and only the new ATSC 3.0 being left. But in that request, there were some additional things with it that Lon found in there, Lon Simon, and a couple of them. Number one, if you have a remote, let me grab a remote that's in here, that has these quick launch buttons on them, right here, where you can launch Netflix or other things from it. They want a button on there to go directly to broadcast television, basically launch the antenna. Now, Roku's Pro Remote has that. It will launch a guide button that has both your antenna, if you have it on your Roku TV, and streaming channels. But they want all TV manufacturers to be forced to do that. They also want, if you have any streaming applications in your menus, that you also have to, on the first page, promote broadcast television. Now, a few things with this. Those ads on remotes and often ads on the home page for televisions and the like are paid advertisement. They're ads, right? Roku gets money every time a remote gets sold with a Netflix button on it. Because of that, though, the TV stations want the FCC to force TV makers to offer their button for free with that, which is a big one there. But they also want, the TV manufacturers with all this to also be forced to, right now, starting immediately, be including ATSC 3.0 tuners. Now, there's some issues with this. For one, the group representing TV manufacturers is saying, well, it's a significantly more expensive type of tuner. People haven't shown interest in it. We don't want to do it. Second, he didn't say this, but it's very true. LG just lost a lawsuit from a company claiming patent rights over 3.0, and they're not part of the pool. And because of that, LG stopped putting 3.0 tuners in their TVs because of the lawsuit. Is the FCC going to block companies from suing TV manufacturers for putting 3.0 tuners in with this if they are forcing them? We're going to keep a close eye on this, but it's very interesting to see. You often ask for more than you want to get, but some of this is pretty aggressive by local television stations to demand this from TV manufacturers, putting a lot of costs on them. Now, I understand the desire to require TV manufacturers to put tuners in that will work, because you do need that, right? For all the big talk that there are millions of devices sold with ATSC 3.0, many of the most popular TVs sold right now do not include the 3.0 tuners. No Roku TVs included, for example, among other brands out there that haven't made their most affordable and most popular televisions include the ATSC 3.0 standard. So I understand their push to get that, but some of this, like including a button on the remote, dictating where on the TV's menu system broadcast television is promoted, We'll see how the FCC responds to that. I think it'll tell us a lot about the FCC and what we can expect the next few years and how they respond to this push. We'll keep a close eye on it. All right, let's keep moving along. Roku has confirmed a new bug impacting Roku TVs that includes when you start them, a pop-up menu that always says, hey, we've noticed a new device in HDMI 1. Would you rename it? Good news is you can just quickly exit out of that, back out of it, and it goes away. Roku's confirmed they're aware of it. It's a bug, and they're working on a fix. For now, nothing you can do. Your TV will automatically update and fix it soon. But backing out should fix it. Leave me a comment. Let me know if you're still experiencing it or not. Crackle. So last summer, the free streaming service Crackle stopped working. This is a service that is owned by Chicken Soup for the Soul Entertainment, which is the same company that owned Redbox, Popcorn Flicks, and others. They are in bankruptcy and are shutting down. Most of their staff got laid off last year, from my understanding. But with this, though, Crackle just this week suddenly rose from the dead and is now working on the website. Now, not on streaming apps. I got a couple people saying, oh, my app's not working. Yes, like the story says, website only. I think this is a glitch. From my understanding, this ran off of AWS or some other similar service. They cut them off because of billing, from my expectation, and it stopped working because of that. The website has always worked, but when you played a video, it just, for a while, it would play the ad, and then the video itself would stop airing. It stopped working. Well, now, interestingly, the videos are working with no ads. They're ad-free. That kind of suggests to me that this wasn't meant to happen. They may have paid enough of the bill through bankruptcy or struck some type of deal enough to get their account turned back on with the hosting company, not realizing that that re-engaged the app is my guess. I'm purely guessing here. I have no inside information. Because I would assume if this was part of a relaunch, they would include ads inside the videos. But if you want, you can go to the Crackle website at the time of this recording, binge watch through a ton of the content, and enjoy it all ad-free. Both new and classic content and some Crackle exclusives. Crackle had a pretty large library. It was also one of the very first free ad-supported streaming services that would later create what we know as, the Pluto TV, Tubi, Roku channel, and the like that came much later. But for now, Crackle, once again, working. Check it out. All right. We did a survey of you, and over 1,700 of you at the time that I was writing this story had told us how many streaming services. I found it very interesting. We are seeing increasingly a large number of cord cutters cutting back on how many streaming services they pay for, with over 50% of you saying you pay for 3 or fewer services. And we raised that number up to 4. That jumps even higher into the 60% range. Over there of about 68 and change % of you say you use 4 or fewer services. Now, interestingly, there are about 10% of you that I would consider super users in this, where you say you use 7 or more streaming services. If that's you, leave me a comment. Let me know. Why have 7 or more? How many do you have? Why, is it because you have just different people in your house? I know I have one service just for my daughter because she likes anime. Leave me a comment. You let me know. But as paid services go up in price, we've seen the number of services fall from its high of 6 or 7 during 2020 when everybody was stuck at home watching TV, now down to just 3 or fewer. With 6% of you saying you pay for no, you use antenna and other devices. 11.9% of you pay for 1, 15.3% of you pay for 2, and 18.4% of you pay for 3. Leave me a comment, let me know if that lines up with what you do. I'd love to hear from you. And this lines up with a new report out there from, I'm not even going to try to pronounce it, but the Digital Media Trends Report. I apologize, dyslexia, I'm going to butcher that name. But they came out and said the average streamer now pays $69. Now, I think a lot of that is because you're counting in people that are paying for Fubo, Hulu, Plus Live, and YouTube, and that's dragging that number higher. Because you can get a lot of paid on-demand services a lot cheaper than $69 if you're just paying for 3 or 4 of them. But interestingly, that's still less than half the cost of cable TV. Cable TV now averages $147 a month on average for cable TV in 2025. Now, with this $69 price point, it's about half, or less than half. Now, interestingly with that though, most people said they're paying too much, which lines up with our own survey that increasingly cord cutters are cutting back, a trend I expect to continue. We're seeing a growth of things like Pluto TV, Tubi, the Roku channel, and the like, and we're seeing a decline in streaming. I think it's because people are rotating services more, subscribing to fewer, and taking advantage of free options like the Roku channel. So we'll keep a close eye on that, but let me know. Does that line up with your expectations? How much do you pay a month in streaming services? Leave me a comment. All right, today in TV history, we talked about Quantum Leap not that long ago, had another anniversary, but they have now, 36 years ago yesterday, Quantum Leap, the original show, I know they had a reboot, launched on NBC for the first time on March 26, 1989, 36 years ago this week. Quantum Leap. I loved this show growing up. I watched it a lot. Did you? Any fans of the original Quantum Leap? Well, leave me a comment, let me know. And lastly, Netflix is rolling out support for HDR10+, the new standard, on supported AV1 devices. Most 4K devices will support this, or I'm going to say not most, but many will. It means that Netflix is bringing their quality of some of their content to even higher standards with the new HDR10 for better colors, deeper blacks, and the like. If you want to learn more about this, and Netflix is planning to roll out more high-end video quality to their shows and movies, check out the story in the show notes. Well, that's it for today. I hope you have a fantastic day. I'll be back again tomorrow with another video. Until then, you take care, be safe. I'll talk to you all again real soon.